this bug. It's like a cross between a spider and a bee. It's like a hybrid. And it's hard to get it to even stop moving. But it's allowed me to take this footage. I've seen a lot of things that look like hybrids, like alternative to honeybees. This thing doesn't fly. I've never seen anything like it. And I'm willing to go out on a limb here and say it's a hybrid. It's a new form. It's a new species. It's a genetically modified organism. And I've seen other things that look like honeybees but have 8 spider legs. And this thing probably qualifies. Spiderbee, Spiderbee, does whatever Spiderbee does. Don't be shy, Spiderbee. Where is he? Let's try and get ahead of Spiderbee here. Come on out in the light. There you go. Spiderbee, Spiderbee, does whatever Spiderbee does. Have you ever seen anything quite like it? I haven't. It looks just like a bee, but acts just like a spider. And I'm trying to get close-ups of it, and it's so squirmy and wiggly and runny, it doesn't stop like a spider. Back, Spiderbee. We'll miss you, Spiderbee. Here goes Spiderbee. Don't go out on the road, Spiderbee. But as you can see, Spiderbee don't stop moving. Spiderbee's always on the run. It's like he don't know what to do with himself or where to go because he's not got any natural instincts because he's a genetically modified organism that was just created very recently. Bye, Spiderbee. We'll miss you. Okay, what I actually stopped here for was to get more footage, or pixels since we don't take film anymore on film, of these trees that are burned from the inside out. So here we go. All right, so there's the truck, here's the tree, and there's a bunch of them like this. And as you can see, it's hollowed out on the inside. I can stick my foot in there. And this was a big tree on the inside. But you can see the unburned here, highly burned here, unburned here, unburned here, unburned here, but the inside burned so hot as to burn out the inside of the whole diameter of that tree. Does the same thing here. Hollowed out the inside of this log, this branch that's hooked to that same tree, but leaves the unburned pattern along with the burn pattern in such a spotty way, there's no way that this is anything other than electricity or plasma coming up from the ground. Now I can spot a lot of the burn patterns on all these trees from one end to the other. This one, see how the center part here is burned much more? Well, there you go. than the rest of it. This has a spotty burn pattern, but a bunch of unburned, but this piece here burns so hot. But if you look right there, next to my hand, you can still see the unburned. I'll try not to obsess over showing too much of the unburned. Here's a good example. The burn cored out. This part is concaved. Right here is concaved about 2 or 3 inches. From there to there, all the way in. Yet on the underside it's unburned. A fire burns from the bottom up. The flames would be licking the bottom first. See how it's concaved all the way through here? And it burnt out the inside of this branch. The inside of this tree, again cored out right there, and the center burns the hottest. And then you have unburnt branches and burnt sporadically distributed all throughout. So all of these trees have this same burn pattern. Unburned here, burned here, and a burn strip that comes here and follows the branch all the way down. Okay, so I'm gonna work my way down and show you some more trees. That's the one we were just looking at, and it's cored out pretty good, as you can see. Same thing, highly burnt, unburnt. This was a big piece of tree. The only thing that's left is a couple pieces the size of my finger holding it together. This would be a cool art piece to cut right at the bottom and lacquer, but I'm not in the business of doing that right now. I'm just documenting the end of the world. Yeah, God said, hey, you want to go to Earth and document the end of the world? Be like the only woke-ass person in a world full of apathy and indifference and willful ignorance? I was like, sure, yeah, I'll do that, man. That sounds fun. Yeah, count me in. You can see the burn strip going right up the top of this one as we walk up to it. Well, maybe you can. I don't know how the lighting's doing, but there is a burn strip right here. There we go. Like a skunk stripe right along the top of this one. By the way, fire burns from the bottom. Flames would come up from the bottom and burn all these weeds. So it's electricity coming up through these branches. You can see how the core of that is burnt to the part where it hits the charcoal checkered pattern. In here, where it's about 2 or 3 fingers deep, the core of the tree burned the hottest, and the outside has less burned area than the inside. Like, I'm no fire expert, but it just feels weird being the only one saying this. So here's a log that's burned clear down to nothingness. So as you can see, as this thing burned, that log burned a lot hotter than this log. And they were base at the same tree, coming up through the same root system. It grounded like the plasma filaments that I've said. It grounded into this one and burnt it down to a nothingness of charcoal. And this one got a more sporadic burn pattern. Same thing. All these trees, every single one of them has the burn pattern, but I'm gonna go find you some more cool ones that are cored out real hard. Like that one we're walking up to. So I'll just keep it rolling as we walk on up. And you can see for yourself that I can see these from the distance. As I'm rolling through within a quarter-mile strip of this road, I see a few hundred trees that are laid out like this, burnt from the inside out. So, as you can see, this one is toast, all up on the inside. Looks like it split right there. The tree actually broke and split right there. That's what that is. That's a little bit of a different signature than the rest of the burn pattern. So I'll just try and slow the camera down and shut my pie hole for a minute and let you see what there is to see here. Burned on the inside. Unburned on the outside. You can see how this log did, a classic example of it. If I can get the lighting to work with me here, but what I'm seeing is unburned here, and unburned here on the outer surfaces of the log, but on the inside I can stick my hand right through it because it burned from the inside out. Okay, you can see this one. There was a lot of trees just like this in Spanish Fork that burnt on the inside. Here's the circumference of the main base of the tree. 3 feet around, 2.5, 3 feet around. Here's a log that, again, burned the most on the inside where it broke off the tree, unburned on the outside or only sporadically. And it's still hooked into the ground. That log didn't fall off the tree. I can't pull that up. It's hooked in right there into the root system. So this whole thing was connected as one big giant log right here. It went across right here, but then it split in two and burned from the inside out there. And if the cops want to know why I'm parked on the side of the road, I'll say, "I'll just document the end of the world, officer." Yeah, it's a crazy job, but somebody's got to do it. It's like that story, the little soul in the sun that said he wanted to go to planet Earth in order to have something to forgive someone for, because he wanted to learn what forgiveness is all about. And one of the other angels said, "Okay, I'll go with you. I'll give you something to forgive me for. But when we go, just remember who we really are. Don't forget who you really are." Here's a small one, by the way. Burnt on the inside. Unburnt on the outside. I don't know how well the lighting's working with me here, but that's what that is. That's a small one. There's another small one here with unburnt weeds all around them. It's almost like the energy of the plasma draws the flame into the log and nothing outside of the log. See this one burnt on the inside? I think the lighting's working pretty good on this one, where you can see it's hollowed out by a flame that runs inside. But I'm working my way over to that tree because that tree's got another good example. And by the way, it's not just on the center island of the freeway here, it's on both sides of the freeway, up and down. Like I said, I can see this stuff all over. Got to dig down into these unburned dry weeds to find what you can see is just another example of some more of the same stuff. So there's some more. There's some more. All these little logs, that one, this one, they're all the same. Highly burned on the inside, or on one side where the electricity traveled, unburned on the outside, or on the other side where the electricity did not travel as much. And just burnt in ways that it doesn't take a freaking firefighter who's done fire science and research and a lot of, all of these, everywhere along here. So let's go check out this big one. Before I run out of battery, I'm kind of running low on battery, so I'm kind of trying to breeze through this. Plus, you're not supposed to park on the side of the freeway. Huge! Look how big my foot is. There's a bunch of deer poop in there, or rabbit poop. This used to be a rabbit home. So it's about 3 or 4 times the size of my foot. You can see how this is cored out right here in a circular pattern where it cored out and it burned everything on the inside. See the burn unburn pattern there, and there, and there. And how it just demolishes it from the inside out. Burn, unburn. I'll shut the hell up now because it sounds like I'm talking down to you and being redundant. But it's like I'm the only one covering this and no one else seems to notice it or talk about it or show it. Here you have a stripe of burn going all the way up this log, coming all the way back. Burn here, unburn there. So I'm kind of pointing it out because I'm not sure. Sometimes the lighting, it's hard to tell. But that's what this is, a streak where the lightning pulsed all the way up through it. The plasma shot all the way up through that whole finger of that log that's actually connected to the rest of this tree right here and right down into the root system. Plus it's hard for me to see what's actually on the camera, what's being filmed until I watch it on the playback with all the glare of the sun that's on the surface of the screen of the phone. This one is a prime example of a tree that you don't want to be. Man, them dang old fire-breathing, plasma-pissing pine beetles are just getting out of control, I tell you. Out of control. This one's cool. Unburned on the outside, but you can see it hollowed it out here and here. Because that was a union where 2 branches come together. This branch of this tree and that branch of that tree. And the energy flowed up through the middle of both of them, but left this piece right here unburned. You can see up into the middle of there, all burnt. Go check out up in here. It's got more examples of what I've been saying, how the knot of the wood, the knot is the hardest, densest part that's hardest to burn and takes the highest temperature. But with these electricity fires, it actually burns the first and the hottest because there's more fibers there that work like electrical wire, like copper wires, tree fibers that condense right there and actually draw the most energy to the knot, which is where another branch was going to come out. Keebler elves are pissed. And so is the rabbit that laid all those poops. Maybe those were actually Keebler elf poops. Onward. I just want to show you that all these little branches suffered the same fate. Burned from the inside out, uneven burn pattern. All these little trees leading up to the big one that we're going to have the same exact burn. If you notice right here, I don't know how the lighting gets. It's burnt on the inside of this log and unburnt on the outside. And so the earth being cleansed by fire might not be such a ridiculous idea, and it might be happening as we speak. So when I said that the Notre Dame fire was Judgment Day happening now, and it's not a single day event, look how cored out this one is. All the holes inside. Oh, this is bizarre. So I'm not sure how well the camera's catching it. But all those holes, that's all that's left of the inside of this tree. And you can see the unburned right there, comes right into contact with the burn. And that's like 4 foot around. You can see it's burned from the inside out here where it broke off. That's all that's left of this tree is the little bit of the outside that was holding it together, burnt on the inside, unburnt on the outside. And that's why it splits and topples over, because the whole inside was burnt out and the only thing left was these thin pieces on the outside still holding it together that are unburned, that are burned on the inside. This piece was cored out here. And the whole inside of the tree is vaporized. Sneak around the other side here. Here's a good example where you can see the burn-unburn line goes right here. This part of the tree had more electricity flowing through it than this part or that part. And the lightning streak goes right there. From the ground up. So I have heard people noticing that the trees are disappearing, but I haven't really seen anyone documenting how they're disappearing. So I do feel like a lone voice in the wilderness here, and that might be why I just keep repeating myself. Because ain't nobody else saying it or seeing it. If they are seeing it, they're not saying it because it requires them to reassess everything they think they know about the world. And it would cause them to become dysfunctional in their daily life in order to be able to go, you know, throughout their regular mundane routine of getting up and going to the work and paying the bills and all that stuff. When you realize what's going on, you have to reassess your priorities, and people don't want to. And so they have this mental block that kicks in, whether naturally, willfully, or just by second nature, to where they have to look the other way. And they can't look, because if they look, then they'll be able to see. And if they see, they won't be able to go about their routine. In order to continue with the routine, they gotta turn their eyes, avert their gaze, and show apathy and indifference to this thing that's happening that is of astronomical and biblical proportions. Yeah, this one's a cool Keebler elf tree, man. You can see right through it. My battery's too low to turn the flash on, or I'd be able to light it up from the inside. This would be an awesome piece to chop right at the bottom and have all these holes, right? And then put some tiki torches in the middle and have that as your lights that light the path to your doorway in your front yard. Yeah, that'd be pretty awesome. Except people don't think it's too awesome, because then they have to go, wait a minute, what does that mean? What are the implications of this for the rest of my life? beyond just lighting the path from the street to my doorway. And that's when it gets a little sticky. So, onward. So check out a couple of these more trees and then probably hit the road again. This one gives a good example of how you can see this whole branch is burned on the inside, not so much on the outside of that branch. And then you cruise back in a little deeper and you see at the core it's got some wood that's already turned to the charcoal checkered. And there was a branch right here that just got completely sizzled off, I suppose. This one over here, you can see the core missing out of the middle. And you can see through it from the 3 different angles. The only thing left is this strip, and this other strip. And of course they're all unburned on the outside. Hollowed out on the inside. And you can see the electricity traveled up this center line right here, right through the middle there, and hollowed out this part. Burning it from the inside out, core first. And it looks like it had some more to the tree over here that has since disappeared. Okay, moving on. As with all the others, it's hollowed out on the inside where it's burned the hottest in here. You can see the outside of this little tiny strip that's left is still relatively unburned. And as with all the others, I'm not sure how the lighting's doing, so I'll just point. There's a couple knots right here where the branches come out, where it's highly burned. Again with here, a branch came out there, and it burned that branch right down to the nub. And that's how it works with all of these. The knot burns hotter. There was a branch here that got disappeared, and this one was in the process of being disappeared. And you can see it corded out, it's concaved right here. Going all the way down the branch, there we go. Lighting's working with me now, a little bit. Yep. So you can see. Is there some grand conspiracy where all the firefighters are sworn to an oath of secrecy, or is it just part of our human condition to avoid acknowledging that which would require us to change our ways? There is nothing harder for someone to learn than that which would require them to change their ways, and you cannot learn anything without it affecting your behavior. And that alone, just part of our human condition, is why everyone who sees this knows this ain't fire, but you ain't hearing nothing about it from anyone. Gross! Spider webs. Where'd my glasses go? Yeah. Sorry, back to the film. So this one you can see a clear delineation right here if it would focus. There you go, burnt on the right, unburnt on the left. And it goes clear down the tree where it split this log. This limb fell off the tree. Burnt on the inside, not so much on the outside. And that's where it broke away from. This piece right here was connected to that piece right there, but it split away because it was burning from the inside. And on and on and on it goes. So I got to get back to the truck. If I see anything more real cool, I'll catch another minute or two, but I'm about out of battery anyway. Okay, one last piece. This is that same tree we were just looking at, except from the back side. What I'm showing you here is that there was a log right here. Unburned here, charcoal there. And the line goes right here where the two split. So even coming up through the same root system, the plasma went and hit this one first and burned it down to a nub. And that was some really thick wood. It got turned to ash. 90% of it. Everything above here is turned to ash. It's on the ground, I guess. And it's since been wet, so it turned that ash to something like cement. So that's about all I was pointing out there, is that that tree had another limb pointing out that way. And all this tumbleweed around here should be gone. With something burning this hot, that should be gone. It still kind of amazes me, even though I know that it's burning from the inside out, how it didn't catch all these other weeds on fire. And so it kind of makes me wonder, oh, by the way, yeah, let's look around. There's a bunch of these trees, and it's not just the ones in the middle of the freeway. All the ones over there as well. So, well, we got a break in the road. There's a fence between me and those trees, but I can tell you, oh, there's not. We'll go check out this tree. Okay, so as you can see, same. Here. This hole, oh, there we go. It actually filmed it. That's my hand I can stick all the way in the tree, because it's burnt from the inside. Just like this little spot right here. You can see that that's burnt on the inside, unburned on the outside, with a little strip holding it together on the top here. A hole right through the back side there. Hole here. And that's just